celebrate the International Women's Day with you. I express my support for and send my best wishes to the Iranian women who are shouldering the main responsibility and hard task to bring down one of the most oppressive regimes in history and in our time. As Madame Rajavi has said on many occasions, this regime cannot abandon terrorism, human rights violations, executions, or torture, even for one day, because if it did, it would immediately be overthrown by the people and the women of Iran, because the people see the regime as the real enemy of Iran. Misogyny is the regime's nature. It justifies and enforces the domestic repression of women by clamping down on women and implementing the repressive obligatory dress code against them. The regime has no capacity to reform. In other words, the principle of verifiable is the pillar of the regime's constitution, and it cannot be changed, even through a referendum. The Iranian people know this, and they express this understanding with their protests all across the country in the last 3 years, when they chant slogans like, "Down with the dictator," "Our enemy is right here," "They lie that it's America," "Reformers, hardliners, the game is over," and "Only by taking it to the street can we get our rights." The regime in Iran acts as a pariah state with nuclear extortion, hostage-taking diplomacy, terrorism, and destabilizing the region, complemented with a brutal domestic crackdown on legitimate protests, opposition, and dissenting voices. This unacceptable behavior must be met with maximum pressure and not maximum diplomacy by the United Kingdom and our allies in Europe and the United States. In this regard, it is totally unacceptable for the European Union to sponsor a business forum to advance trade in Iran with participation of European and Iranian diplomats, as was the case last week, while the regime is doing everything it can to exclude women from the Iranian society and prevent their economic participation or emancipation. In addition, the EU-Iran Economic Forum sent the wrong signal to the regime in Iran, the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, at a time when one of its diplomats has been sentenced to 20 years for terrorism in Europe and for trying to bomb the opposition NCRI gathering in Paris. The United Kingdom, Europe, and the United States need to listen to the people of Iran and apply maximum pressure. The NCRI and the 10-point democratic platform of Madame Rajavi is the theocracy's kryptonite. The 10-point plan of Madame Rajavi has gained wide cross-party recognition in the United States Congress, in both houses of the United Kingdom Parliament and the European Parliament. We saw this with the strong support for a new resolution on Iran in the US Congress last month. House Resolution 118 and previous support for the early day motion on this topic in the United Kingdom, House of Commons, demonstrates that this is the will of the elected representatives of the people of our great countries. Supporting the Iranian people and the NCRI to free Iran from the grip of this brutal regime is the only long-term sustainable solution to secure and advance human rights, democracy, and equality in Iran. This must be the center and ultimate goal of the United Kingdom's policy on Iran. Women are now standing up to the regime to realize the democratic aspirations of the Iranian people, which today, in my view, converges with both the economic and security interests of the United Kingdom and Europe at large. This is the real win-win policy for the United Kingdom and Iran, in contrast to dialogue and the flawed nuclear deal with the mullahs that many civil servants, diplomats, and proponents of appeasing the regime claim. So let us avow ourselves that by this time next year, when we celebrate International Women's Day, we do so in Tehran with a free Iran and women properly emancipated. Thank you for allowing me to participate in this excellent conference.